Hello, and welcome back to Copilot Learning Hub, the show. I know you all are very, very excited, as am I, because today's guest needs absolutely no introduction. Please welcome to our show, April Dunnam. Hi, April.
Hey, Donna. Thanks for having me on Copilot Learning Hub.
Thank you so much for joining us. I have been so excited about this episode because one of my favorite products, Power Apps, has gotten, of course, the Copilot treatment, but I had no idea how many things you actually could do with the various Copilot capabilities within Power Apps. And the demo that you walked me through the other day was so interesting and so cool, we knew we had to get you on air and share with the audience.
Yeah, it's definitely got a lot of new features here, so I'm really excited to be here and show them.
Okay, so first, tell us what you're going to show us.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of do a complete walkthrough of all of the Copilot capability that we have in Power Apps, starting with the newer ability to be able to create multi-table applications with Copilot. So it'll actually generate an entity relationship diagram to show you how you can relate all these different tables for your solution and build a working application for you. And then we can add Copilot capability for our end users into the app.
Okay, so you're going to use Copilot to build a Copilot.
Pretty much.
That's pretty wild. Okay, I love this. Please, by all means, show us.
Okay. Hey, so we're going to start in make.powerapps.com. And if we go over here, we have all these different ways we can create an app. So we can create an app right on the homepage with Copilot, but we can also start with our data. So that's what I'm going to do here. So we're going to choose Start with Data, and we can actually create tables directly from the screen. So I can start with Copilot right here and just describe what I want to build. So I have a little prompt that I put together here, and I want to build a recognition system for my employees so that they can go and give people praise. So I'm just telling it what I want to have. So an employee recognition system that should allow employees to submit multiple awards. And I'm even including some information like the categories that I want: team player, leader, problem solver, and ally. So with that simple prompt, I can first, before I click generate though, let's look at some of these table options because we can define further kind of the parameters for what we want to have here. So if I know that I want to have multiple tables, which is the default, I can do that. But we can also choose the table size. So if we know this could be a lot of data, we can kind of change that to large and whether we want to have this do the relationships for us. So these are all settings that we can configure before Copilot even does its job. Now we can just say generate, and that will go take the prompt and create a entity diagram for me that I can then keep tweaking with Copilot if I need to, and then have that go and create the application based off of the data structure for us. So you can see how fast that was. I barely finished explaining it, and it created all of the tables for me, which is really cool.
Okay, I have to tell you,
what you're seeing here,
I like all those choices and which kind of table you want to build, the size of the table, et cetera, et cetera. That is new. That is definitely new. That's very cool.
Yep. Brand new. Yeah, so what it's really showing us here is a simple two-table solution. So we need somewhere to store the employees. So we can click on any of these and we can view data. And the thing that I love about Copilot is I hated when I was building applications having to add in a bunch of sample data just to make sure that my app was working. Now Copilot does that for us. So we can see all the sample data for the different columns that it created to track the employee name, department, and position. So I can see this, and I can either use Copilot to manage this, or I can even directly create new columns and even add new sample data manually here. Now, the other thing it did for us is recognize that there needs to be a relationship between the employees and the awards. So you see this little icon right here is showing that it defined a relationship for us, and which is many to one. So I was able to take what I put in and recognize that relationship. What I could make changes here as well. So if it needs to be one to many or whatever that needs to be, I can manually make those changes too. So I have complete control over what Copilot's doing for me here and everything it's creating. Now, if we look at the award one here, let's just see what kind of data that it has. So it looks like it did pass in those award categories like I wanted, but one thing that I see is missing is it really doesn't have a comments field. So when someone's submitting an award for someone, I want them to be able to put in a nice note of why they were giving that award. So I can ask Copilot to help me with that. So one thing you'll notice here in the right-hand side is we have this view prompts option. So we can ask it to do all kinds of things. So we can have it create stuff for us if we think a table is missing, or we can have it say create columns for us. So that's what I'm going to do. And let's say I'll just paste in this. I want to create columns for an award table called comments. So I want to have that comments column, and that should be able to pass that into Copilot so it can go and add that additional column in this table for us. And it should, when it does that, add some sample data. So there we go. So now we have that comments field, and there's all of the sample data for us in there. So that alone is pretty cool to be able to just manipulate all of this here. But the other thing that we can do is have it add more sample data if we want to for us. So I can say, let's see, or I can do it manually too. So I can have it go and add an employee. So we can go in here and I can just put in a little something for myself. So I can, mix and match kind of manual typing, and then let's see, DevRel, there we go. And working with Copilot as well. So now we have kind of our data. If it all looks good, I can say we're good to go, and we can save and open the app. So this is going to go and save all of these Dataverse tables. That's what this is in the back end. It's creating these 2 Dataverse tables for us with that relationship, and now it's going to create a fully responsive and functional Canvas application for us in Power Apps based off of this data.
Okay, I love that setting up this Dataverse tables, both of them, was actually a fairly straightforward activity versus the not straightforward activity it could be in the past.
Yeah, it was you had to know the ins and outs of Dataverse. So this is theoretically, if you've never touched Dataverse in your life, you could just have Copilot help you and create the application. So it really is making it faster and easier than ever to be able to start building Power Apps.
I like that you can not just create new Dataverse tables, but modify the ones that are there with more data here, less data, clean this, add this, et cetera, because that's common. It's very rare you build a data source from scratch. Usually you get handed one, right? And you have to make it work for some new thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the options that we had there in Copilot was to import data. So we can import directly from Excel or SharePoint with Copilot also. So that's a newer functionality that was just added too.
Oh, I like that a lot because that is so common, right? Here's 10 different data sources. Use them to do something useful. Oh, something's going on with your app.
All right, now, so you see it only took a few minutes there, and it's created an application for us. And if we kind of look at what it did, it created a welcome screen. So it has 2 things that we want to manage: the employees that can submit these recognitions and the awards. So if we look at the data section here, those are those 2 tables that it created for us. And we can see these are all clickable. So if I were to play this application, I go to awards. Now it takes me to a screen where I can see all the awards, and I can add a new award right here for anyone that I want to in the organization. So it is a fully functional app. As I mentioned, it is responsive. So we can go into any one of these, change it as to what it would look like on an iPhone and see what it would look like, all without me having to do any additional work right here with Copilot.
Wow. Okay, this is cool. First, I like this app. This is a good app just in general because it is kind of like the Thrive or Kudos or whatever app that companies have. But I like that how much customization you were able to do, like put in the categories, like add a note, do this, do that. Very cool.
Yeah, so much you can do. And, even if it's not strictly Copilot related, some new functionality that we have in Power Apps as well. If I want to have icons or custom graphics on this landing screen, I can click on any one of these here. And now we have stock images baked in. So we can go and upload a stock image for the award. So I can search for award and start building out my UI pretty easily. So there's a nice graphic for that. And it'll update the app. So we don't have to go hunt for images ourselves and upload those. We can just get that right from the stock images.
I do love the ability to add a stock image. That's really cool.
Yeah, so the other thing that we can do with Copilot in Power Apps is have it generate PowerFX code for us, which is the programming language behind Canvas apps. So I can go into this label right here in the color property, and I can act like I'm adding in a comment, which I can with the 2 forward slashes. So I can ask it to check on the award category and see if it's leader. I want to make the color green. So you see when I did that, it's kind of has like below like a GitHub Copilot type thing where it's giving us an example of a formula, and I just pressed tab and it applied that formula for me. So I can make one small tweak here, and then we have a working formula to be able to, now you can see leader is colored in green. So this is just an example of what we can do with this to generate some PowerFX.
This makes me happy because all of the folks who do low-code work or no-code work, and they say, I would do code work, but I feel like I need to learn to code. This is a good way to do basic, simple formulas with help in the little box you already know, using the language you already know. But you still have to be knowledgeable in logic and things, which is great. I love this. This is awesome.
Exactly. It's just going to help you, it'll go a little bit faster with this, but yeah, I still need to know what you're doing behind the scenes with Power Effects for sure, but it's definitely helpful.
Love it.
Now, so far though, we've looked at, how we can help build an application with Copilot, and there's all kinds of things we can do as well. So we have a Copilot with us in the maker experience. So if we want to easily add a new screen, I can do that with Copilot. So I can say create, and then I can just say add a new screen. And it will do that for me, and I can be as specific as I want to if I want to have it add certain objects to the screen, like a gallery and all that. But the thing, I think a magic happens when we start to add Copilot to our Power Apps that we're building for our end users. So there's capability in there to be able to embed a Copilot in your Power App to help your end users. So that's the next thing I wanted to show you. If you go to Insert here, we have a Copilot control. We actually have two. We have Copilot and Copilot Answer. So let's look at the Copilot one. So this is allowing us to bind the Copilot to the data source in our app. So I can say if I want to answer questions about who has the most awards, I can bind it to this awards data source, and it can do that. But the other thing that it can do, which I think is what makes it really powerful, is we can bind this same control to a Copilot in Copilot Studio. So yeah, so that's really, so I have a simple Copilot that I built here to answer questions about employees. So it's going to look up some of their information. I can find out what skills they are. So if I want to get a little bit more background information on the employee for my recognition, I can do that with this Copilot. So I can just copy the schema name of this Copilot, and then I can go into the Copilot control and paste that in, and that's going to bind this control in Power Apps to that Copilot. So now I can start interacting that with this Copilot just like I would in Copilot Studio.
I love that.
So if I were to, so now this is, imagine an end user is in here using the app and they want to submit an award, but they want to learn more information about someone that they're submitting it for. I can ask, what are Dona Sarkar's specialties?
Mostly yelling.
And that will go out using, it'd be interesting to see what it says here, but it will go out, and I already trained the Copilot Studio Copilot on some knowledge. So I gave it some background information on you, Donna, and it's going to go take that information and see what it comes up with here based off your LinkedIn in this case.
Oh, that's going to be funny.
That'll go and
it's going to say tweeting. It's going to say tweeting. I'm just telling you right now. It's like,
hopefully.
Kudos, Donna, on your amazing tweeting. What? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? This is pretty accurate. Public speaking and advocacy, writing and authorship, entrepreneurship, fashion design. I mean, I think
it actually did a good job pulling some information. Wow. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. I love that.
Not bad.
This inbuilt Copilot that you can jam in is actually it's pretty sophisticated. It can do an extension to something else. Okay. So that was amazing. You showed us how you can build an app from, first you generate a data source with sample data, which is the most annoying thing in the whole world. Second, generate an app with like welcome screen, this and that you can now work with. Then you can actually write code to adjust your app using PFX. And then you can embed a Copilot Studio Copilot into that app. 4 Copilot things in one demo, as only April can do, by the way. But this was so cool. I had no idea Power Apps had all of these things, because the last time I tried it, you can like vaguely generate an app from a prompt. But now there's so much richness. I think just building like a really good data store to build an app from, that's just magic right there. That is really cool.
Yeah, it's evolving really fast. So new things are being added all the time, it seems, for Copilot Power Apps. It just keeps getting better and better.
I love it. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. And thank you so much, April. Everyone go and follow April's YouTube channel, where she has all things Power Platform all the time. Talk to you soon.